Hi everyone, this is Hamza from Outcast Solutions. My guest today is Evan Weber. Evan's been running his agency, Experience Advertising, since 2007. That's 20 plus years and 400 plus companies and millions in ad spend. And that he has pretty much good experience with LinkedIn, Meta, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, CTV, affiliate, you name it. And unlike a lot of agency owners, he's still in the accounts every day, running campaigns, fixing landing pages, chasing conversion rates. We get really tactical in this one, picking platforms and testing a little bit here. If we could get Evan to do that. He also shares his screen, hopefully, to walk us through real reports and a few of the tools he's built. So, Evan, we're honored to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Very excited.
Evan, let's start off from understanding performance marketing. When we talk about performance marketing or paid growth, are those two terms interchangeable to you? And or do they sort of like fall under the umbrella of under the same umbrella?
Yeah, well, usually performance-based marketing or performance marketing refers to measuring the performance on the campaigns. It usually refers to like paid advertising, but affiliate can also be considered performance marketing because the affiliates are performing or they're not. But typically it's, how much are we spending versus how much revenue we're getting and what's the performance and optimizing it from there. So performance marketing is typically paid advertising or I would say affiliate marketing. So those are the channels that are caught up in performance marketing.
Is it something that every company in today's world they should be doing? Is performance marketing something that's really an essential today?
I think so. Some companies are able to do it all organically, but very few. I think, it depends what type of company it is, what type of brand it is, whether it's B2C or B2B. But as long as the audience can be targeted through the ad platforms or through the strategy, then yeah, you should be trying to make those advertising platforms work for the company. So, that's a tricky thing. Every ad platform is a little different. The audience targeting is a little different. Obviously you have to capitalize on the traffic once it gets to the website or landing page as well as possible. So there's a lot of nuance in performance marketing. You have to make it work. That's one of my sayings. You have to make the ad platforms perform by having well structured campaigns, great ads, traffic going to great landing pages, running retargeting ads, following the people around when they leave the website if they don't convert. So you sort of need the whole circle of exposure in order to really capitalize as well as possible and make the campaigns perform. Once they're performing well, you can start to increase the budgets. You can start to look at cranking the faucet. But usually they start at a low level, and then as results come in, you start cranking the faucet a little bit more and more and more and scaling up the budget and trying to maintain a good return on ad spend, what they call ROAS. Um, but that's always tricky. Every company is different. The cost of the traffic is different from industry to industry, niche to niche. So you have to contend with the traffic cost. You have to contend with how much exposure you can even get on the ad platform, like how much search traffic there is, for instance, on Google, or how big is the audience you can target on LinkedIn, or Meta. Um, so every company has a slightly different challenge to making it work.
You've been running ads since forever. Let's talk a little bit about some platforms that aren't necessarily the biggest. I mean, relatively speaking, when we're talking specifically about Pinterest, TikTok, or well, maybe not TikTok, but Reddit for sure, or the usage, especially in the B2B. What do you see people get wrong when they sort of like try a new platform, especially for the first time? And like, is there like a sort of test like you perform like when you kind of like gauge a particular channel and its potential?
Well, I see it a lot. Companies you have to run the campaign on the platform with a great strategy in the first place. A lot of companies that run campaigns, they don't have any strategy behind it. They're just like, oh, we're going to run a campaign on Reddit, and we might target a couple subreddits that look like they make sense. But you really have to have like the right creative, the right ad unit, whether it's a video or image, targeting the right audience in the right with the right messaging, and then you have to obviously convert the traffic as well as possible when they do click to the website, because if they don't click and do something, if they don't take an action like a free trial sign up or an inquiry, a call booking, then a lot of companies will think, oh, it's not doing anything or it's not really for us because no conversions are happening. Obviously, you have to have the conversion tracking nailed down. A lot it can be difficult to actually get the conversion tracking precise. A lot of companies set up conversion tracking and it's not quite complete. Might have pixel tracking, but they don't have what's called conversion API tracking or CAPI tracking, which what lets the ad platform attribute more conversions that are happening on the website to the ad campaigns. So if they don't have the right conversion tracking setup, it can look like it's not performing. And then they'll say, oh, it's not working for us, or it's not going to work for us, or it's just not going to produce conversions for us, so we're not going to put much money there. So you have to have a great strategy. You have to have great ads like creative ads, catchy ads, compelling ads, and you have to have a great place to send the traffic that sufficiently impresses the users once they get there. So they're inspired to take an action with social proof and great headlines. You can do headline testing. You can come up with the right messaging by sending traffic and seeing what resonates with the users, the visitors. So it's a whole, methodology that you have to have in place to really make the ad platforms perform and achieve what they call scale. But you're not going to be able to scale anything without those things being done at a high level.
Speaking of ads, generally, if someone's starting out and they're in the B2B space, uh, what would you recommend? Should they be starting with Google Ads? They be targeting LinkedIn ads? I know Meta is more like for B2C. It doesn't really do much for B2B, but still, like, or even for B2C campaigns, like, is there any particular channel that you'd want to that you'd want to recommend according to spaces?
Well, for B2B, it depends. For Google, it depends how much search volume there is for the particular niche or
Yeah.
software type or tool, or it could be a B2B non-software brand. So it just depends on how much targeted search volume there is, how competitive it is, how pricey it is. Um, those are some of the factors that will determine whether Google Ads is the place to spend your money, how much brand traffic there is, meaning company name searching. A lot of companies, the brand, the company name searching is what carries the whole campaign. Um, One of the problems with Google Ads for B2B is if there is what they call general keyword traffic, meaning that tool type or that type thing, that software type, it can be very pricey. So if you can't make that convert well enough, then the ROI won't be there. The return on ad spend won't be there. So you have to see what the clicks will even cost before, and you only know that by running some budget at it and seeing what happens. Um, and then you have to do things like checking the search terms campaign report, which is the actual search phrases that are triggering your ads in the first place, which is separate from the keyword list. And a lot of companies don't monitor the search terms report, keep it clean, and that can significantly hurt the performance and make you think it's not performing. So you have to have a clean search terms report. As far as LinkedIn, you know, how big are the audiences over there? They have great audience targeting by job title, by, you can target the whole company by name, company names, and then bring in the job titles within the company names. You can upload a list. there's various ways of doing it, um, but it's going to be determined by how big the target audience is on LinkedIn and what type of ads you're running, what type of ad campaigns you're running. There are many different types of ad campaigns. There's video, there's static image, there's thought leader ads, which are advertising other people's posts, and that can be effective. There's pop-up lead forms. So there's many different ways to advertise on LinkedIn, and they all need to be tested and tried out and see what works. But you have to have a great, strategy going into it, really good ads, creative, compelling ads, hit them with different ad types to the same audience at the same time, simultaneously. Um, and you have to have a budget. Like if you're only you can't spend $1,000 a month on LinkedIn and expect much to
Yeah.
happen. You need to spend like a few thousand. The amount you spend is going to determine how much action is created. But they can all be made to work as long as the audience is there. As long as the keywords are being searched. As far as Meta for B2B, I use it a lot on the retargeting layer, advertising to people that just visited the website that didn't convert, or to a uploaded database of customers, and like a retention campaign on Meta, Facebook and Instagram, or a straight up just a retargeting campaign to bring the loop them back to the site. Once they've visited the site, then you can advertise to them, and you can do it on TikTok, you can do it on Reddit, you can do it on multiple platforms at once with low daily budgets. Um, so those are those are some B2B strategies right there. B2C is a different animal.
Yeah.
B2C is more general. Any ad platform can work for B2C, or it may not, or it may not. It's never easy to get these ad platforms to cooperate, and really work at a high level and get a good return. It's never easy. You have to get it there. You have to constantly optimize, constantly try to hone the conversion rate, and do it at the highest level, and then you can achieve greatness. But it's never easy, and you need, in my opinion, you need high level, experts running it for you.
Love the way you explained us about B2B and B2C and the different strategies and the channels and the various mistakes people make. But I have questions. Some people sort of use paid ads to drive early growth. Would you recommend against it? Is testing essential, especially when you're driving early growth, pre-product market fit?
I'm not quite understanding when you say, what do you say, early quote or
Yeah,
pre
what
product?
what I'm saying is, do you recommend people should be going straight to ads, especially in a service industry, or even if we talk about pre-product market fit phase of a business?
I mean, because some companies will advertise and like sign you up on a waiting list. Like we're not live yet, but sign up on a waiting list. That can work. I've seen it work before. Again, it has to be compelling. It has to look, they have to think it's something that they need to be signing up for. But I've seen like waiting list advertising work. Um, it's hard to say like product market fit, whether you have it or not. Um, I don't think anyone should even be building anything that doesn't have product market fit, if you know what I mean. Um, and if you think advertising is going to, you know, determine whether you have product market fit, that's not how I would approach it. I would survey people that are in the industry, like let's say it's a sales tool. You contact some people on LinkedIn that are in sales, and you say, "Hey, we're building a product, a software, a tool. What we want you to check it out and see how you like it. We'll give it to you for free. We let you try it out and see if they use it and get their feedback and make the tool better." That's how I would go for, product market fit, more so than just running ads and seeing if it converts. Uh, it's just riskier to run ads with something that's unproven. Although people do it all the time, companies do it all the time, and sometimes you have to do it. But I think, you have to get that underlines the importance of messaging and how the company's being portrayed on the website or landing page, how the ads themselves. A lot of times you can pre-sell the service with the ads, like if they're video ads or even Google ads. You just the content of the ads. You can sort of explain what it is before they even get there. And if you can do that, then in my opinion, you have a higher likelihood of getting people to sign up, getting people to inquire, because they sort of already seen the video. They already know what it's about. They determine in their head, oh, I'm interested in this. I'm interested, so I'm going to click through. I'm going to check it out. And so I think video can be very instrumental in, you know, catering to newer products, newer softwares, whatever it may be, in order to sort of, I call that pre-selling, when they see a good video explaining what the product does and who it's for and the outcomes, the value that they will get out of it. So you have to portray the value really heavily. And then I think, yeah, you anything can be advertised as long as you're portraying the value well enough. Yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit about common mistakes. And I'm pretty sure you've worked with hundreds and thousands of agencies, and I'm sure you've taken over hundreds of accounts from other agencies as well, and as well as in-house teams. What do you consistently find they're doing wrong?
Well, each ad platform has a different set of things that they could be doing wrong. Um, Again, it boils back down to the website's effectiveness or where they're sending the traffic. So if the website or landing page isn't good enough, that's a problem. That needs to be redesigned. They could redesign a new, AI coded, vibe coded landing page that really impresses and really, you want the targeting, whether it's keywords or the audience, to match up with the ads, to match up with the landing page perfectly. So a lot of companies will send all the traffic to their homepage, for instance. That's a problem usually. You want to have very catered landing pages to the audience or the keywords, and then really good ads that paint the picture before they even get to their destination. And then you want to follow them around with the retargeting ads that say, "Oh, you were just on our website." Like, the retargeting ad should be a little different than the initial ads. They should, and you also need a volume of ads, a certain volume of different types of ads or multiple videos to show to different people at different stages of the journey, to your website and beyond. So each ad platform has different, mistakes or uh, uh, mistake is not really the right word. Um, it's more like you have to have the experience to know now with like Claude and ChatGPT, and you can get a lot of insight on how to run ad campaigns, maybe a little better than they normally would be run. I run everything through Claude or ChatGPT, and I have them auditing the actual platforms themselves, like Claude Cowork or ChatGPT Work. I'll connect them to the browser, and it'll go audit the Google Ads campaign, audit the LinkedIn, whatever ad platform, and it'll give me a whole list of suggestions. And then I'll filter through them and see which ones I agree with. And then if they have good ideas, I'll implement them. It's really good at auditing. The AI is really good at auditing the accounts and finding little things that you might have overlooked, or most people would overlook because they don't have the background or the frame of reference to know like what the right bidding strategy should be, or how many irrelevant search terms are in the keyword or in the search terms report. The first thing I do with a Google Ads account is I have Claude audit the search terms report and tell me the percentage of appropriate search terms, like non appropriate search terms, and like maybes. And then it can even clean them up for you. It'll say go get rid of all the non-appropriate ones, and it'll go get rid of them for you and put them on the negative list. And then that has to be done on a repetitive basis, on a frequent basis until it's cleaned up and making sure no waste is happening in the account. LinkedIn is a little more challenging um, as far as you know targeting the ads to the audience. You know, and again, I would turn to AI for creative ad strategies like, hey, hey, ChatGPT, we're targeting these people on LinkedIn with our website. Give me 5 ideas for videos or create 5 ads for me. I use ChatGPT for a lot of static ads. It does a phenomenal job. And I use a lot of what are called UGC videos, user generated content videos for platforms like Meta, TikTok, Instagram. They can be used on LinkedIn as well. Uh, and then, company overview videos for LinkedIn, like explaining what the software does or what the company does. Again, you need different ad types running simultaneously to the same audience on a platform like LinkedIn. Something like Reddit, you might go into like subreddits, like let's say it's a software that, let's say it's a CRM software, for instance, and that you're advertising. You can target like let's say you're targeting realtors or plumbers or some kind of service business on Reddit. So then the ads need to say like, hey, I run a plumbing business and I'm so glad I found this tool. It really helped my business grow and stay organized and follow up with customers. So that could be the video you run to the plumber subreddit or the realtor subreddit or the contractor subreddit. So again, targeting audiences with specific ads to specific landing pages is you need that continuity and as well as the retargeting ads. So if they go to a page for realtors, then the retargeting ads will be for realtors as well. That's they see to bring them back. So you need those points, touch points, all coordinated perfectly. In my opinion, that's the way I tried it. Sometimes you can't do it like that. Sometimes it's done more generally, and you're not like slicing and dicing the audience, types like so precisely like that. But I like to try to do that when possible. So yeah,
What are the metrics you sort of love to focus on? A lot of people fixate on CAC, ROAS, like you earlier mentioned, LTV, CAC. Is there anything you say, forget those, that's the bucket I actually watch most?
I believe in optimizing all the KPIs possible. You got your conversion rate, CR, conversion rate, your CTR, your click through rate, your cost per click, your CPC. Um, I believe in optimizing every single KPI if possible. And there are things you can do. Sometimes there aren't. Sometimes, like on Google, if your cost per click is too high, you can try a different bidding strategy, like a manual cost per click, or a different type of automated bidding strategy and run it for a couple weeks and see if that lowers the CPC and keeps the traffic at the level you want it to be at. Also, your budget is going to also determine how much traffic you're even getting from these different ad platforms and different campaigns. So if you don't have a big budget, it makes it harder to test different bidding strategies and different metrics within the campaigns because you're not spending enough to really make determinations. So you just have to go on best instinct or asking the AI what you should do, but being very specific with AI. Usually, it'll give you a good recommendation if you give it enough context. A lot of companies, they don't give it enough context. So, but if you give it all the context possible, then it'll give you a better answer. And then auditing it optimizing it on a frequent basis, auditing it on a frequent, again, back to the website's effectiveness, doing things on the website or landing page to increase the conversion rate. Always, and I've been saying this for years. The first topic in the marketing meeting should be, what are we doing to increase our conversion rate this month or this week? That's the first conversation that should be had. Otherwise, you're just guessing. Like there aren't a lot of levers you can pull in the ad platforms. There are levers, but the thing you can control is the website's effectiveness. But again, someone who knows what they're actually, again, back to Claude, you know, audit my landing page, give me suggestions to make it better, and then you have to implement them. If you poo-poo all their suggestions, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to like, or have an expert give you some recommendations. But I'm an expert, and I still use AI to audit landing pages and provide feedback, headlines, new headlines, more exciting copy, more inspiring copy, the content, the design, the calls to action, everything could be improved and optimized over time to get a better result and squeeze more out of the traffic you're already getting. So that's the key, in my opinion.
Back in the day, the advice was, don't chase generic benchmarks. So, what's your take on that? Could you also, shed light a little bit about CPC, your conversion rate? How do you actually know when your CPC is good?
Um, as low as possible with the CPC, getting the traffic as inexpensively as possible is the goal. Sometimes you can achieve that, sometimes you can't. If you don't try to achieve it, you certainly won't. So you need to attempt to lower the CPC, and things like making the creative more compelling. The more compelling the creative, or the ad, the lower the CPC will be, and the higher the click-through rate will be. So you want a nice high click-through rate. For display, that might be 5%. For CPC, it depends on the platform, but LinkedIn, like under $2. Google, under $2 if possible, although that's not always possible. Depends on the type of campaign and the niche, how competitive it is. But in general, you do want to try to achieve a lower cost per click across campaigns because you'll be getting more traffic for the money. And you want to try to achieve as high a click-through rate as possible because that means your ads are compelling and your targeting is on point. If your click-through rate is too low, it either means you're targeting too broadly or your ads aren't compelling enough, or both. So all these, like back to the KPIs and optimizing all of the KPIs, the only thing you can't affect is the CPM rate, the cost per thousand of the impressions, what they're charging you for the ad impressions. That you can't manipulate. They're going to determine, the ad platforms will determine what that cost is based on how competitive it is and the audience selected and the keyword selected, all of that. But outside of the CPM rate, every other KPI could be improved upon. And that's exactly what needs to be focused on. What are we doing to lower our cost per click? What are we doing to increase our CTR? What are we doing to increase our conversion rate? These are the kind of discussions you need to have in the marketing meeting, as well as with Claude or ChatGPT. And, they can always give good feedback and good analysis of the actual ad campaigns already running. So even though I consider myself an expert, every day I'm using Claude to give me ideas and feedback on every aspect of the ad campaigns, including the landing pages themselves, the code of the site, the usability of the site or landing page. So when I look at ad accounts that I've taken over for previous managers or launching new ones, I'll look at the history, like what was done in the past, what the performance is, and then I'll dig through each campaign and I'll say, okay, it was good or it was bad or it was in the middle. Let's improve this. Let's improve that. Let's launch a new one. So you can learn from the history, but the history doesn't always tell the story because it could all be skewed worse by the website's lack of effectiveness. So you can't really judge previous campaigns that they were poorly run if the website sucks, if the landing page isn't good enough. Because if it was better, those campaigns would have performed better. So you have to look at everything, all aspects to really make a determination of, what should be done going forward.
Speaking of attribution, what's the state of attribution today, and how do you see people doing it? Uh, or, I mean,
Well,
yeah,
well,
what's
it's
your take on
it's
that?
it's it's sort of still a nightmare to a degree, and attribution and tracking has been bad for years, and that's because the browsers will squash cookies. Um, you know, devices will squash cookies, and they'll squash tracking, and so it's very imprecise. That's why all the ad platforms have what's called a CAPI, a conversion API that can be implemented, and it's a little bit of a dev task. What you're doing is you're batching in user email and phone number a lot of times in order to match up more conversions with the ad platform that happened on the website. So without that, you're relying on just straight up pixel tracking, and that's a very imprecise mechanism, especially Meta. Meta is very imprecise. Um, the other ones can be decent, you know, but so you should try to do all the best practices. Again, Claude, ChatGPT, they can tell you how to implement the conversion API, and then you give the instructions to the dev, and then you have them do it, and then you check it and make sure it's implemented properly and that it's tracking more conversions. But it's sort of never easy to do that. It's doable, but it always a little bit of a process to get the conversion tracking ironed out properly. But yeah, you definitely have to attempt to do it as well as possible. Otherwise, you're flying blind. You don't know really what's resulting from the ad campaigns, and then you can't make the decisions, the optimizations, and the ad platforms can't optimize properly without enough conversion data to optimize off of for accurate conversion data. So yeah, the tracking is paramount. That has to be addressed right away.
So, in terms of tooling, are there attribution tools that you sort of love or use, or do you have any of your own? Do any of
There's a
your
few.
tools?
There's a few
Uh,
out there. A couple I can't think of the exact name. Was it attribution something or other? I can't. There's one I demoed recently that was pretty good. Um, there's third party tools, out there. But I try to get the actual ad platforms tracking because when I manage campaigns, I manage them on the ad platforms. You know, I don't really use a third party tool to aggregate the data into a platform, a, a, you know, a centralized platform. Although I use it if the client has it, but I don't need it to run the ad campaigns, properly. In my opinion, they can provide some insight though for sure. I'd have to look up a couple, and there's one of the I can't think of the exact name. There's one CPV one um, attribution something at I can't remember the exact name. There's Triple Whale. That's more of a B2C, a direct to consumer one, Triple Whale. But there's a few out there that are worth looking into.
let's talk a little bit about CRO. You've said the best results come from combining great advertising with relentless CRO. Where do most companies leave the most money? Is it in the ads, or is it what happens after the click?
Well, it's certainly what happens on the website, but the traffic has to be quality in the first place. Um, if the traffic is quality, meaning what highly targeted, by keyword or by audience and, good ads, um, then what happens on the website is paramount. Um, if the traffic isn't that high a quality, then it'll always be difficult to hone the conversion rate upwards because not enough qualified people are even hitting the website. The problem with digital advertising is people will click on anything, even if they're not even targeted properly. They still might click on the ad. And so it's skewing the whole conversion rate percentage downward. So it's hard to optimize the conversion rate if you don't have confidence that in the quality of the traffic that the website's even receiving. And then there's bot traffic that has to be filtered out.
Oh yeah.
So if there's a lot of bot traffic, then you'll think your conversion rate's 1% when it's really 5%. You know, um, so you have to like weed out the bot traffic and not incorporate that into the conversion rate number. So yeah, you have to. But there's many things that can be done to influence the conversion rate. It could be like testimonials, social proof, the right types of pop-ups, the right types of giveaways, um, the right messaging, the right calls to action. Wait before you go, like an exit at 10 pop-up with a great offer. And even B2B can do, pop-ups and B2B companies don't do enough pop-ups in my opinion because they don't do them right. They don't think they can be done, on B2B traffic. A lot of times people that run these websites or marketing, they don't know what would resonate with their users because they're not the target audience themselves. They're just someone that was hired into the marketing role. So they don't know their audience, you know, needs to see or needs to hear. Um, so again, Claude, ChatGPT, this is my audience. What should my headline be? What should my subheadline be? What should my bullet points be? What should my call to action button say? What should my exit offer be? Exit pop up offer be? What should my retargeting ad say? You know, you've been given a wonderful gift with this AI thing. It's extremely intelligent and only getting smarter. And if you
Yeah.
give it enough context, it can give you brilliant answers. But for whatever reason, some people don't have confidence in it, or they think they want to do it themselves. They think they can come up with the best headline themselves. They can't. But truth be told, you have to test different headlines to the traffic and see what converts. And that's where you can get into things like AI coding or vibe coding a landing page. So you can build in inherent A/B testing into the landing page itself. You don't need a third party tool.
So, how do you like approach messaging and copy testing? Is it based more on your judgment, or is it more of a giving context to AI agents or giving context to these AI engines? How much of conversion is really just saying the right thing to the right person?
Yeah, well, again, I don't think, even myself, I don't think I'm capable of coming up with the perfect content for the audience. You know, I think AI does a much better job than I do. And I have 20 plus years of experience trying to come up with this stuff. Um, when I've run A/B tests, like headline tests, the headline I think is going to work never wins. You know, so you have to lean on AI because what a lot of people underestimate, it knows how to message in order to compel people to do things or motivate them, persuade them. Most humans don't have the ability to write that well or that effectively, in my opinion. So that's where the AI is really good with being compelling, being motivating, being persuasive, with the way the content's structured or formulated. And then you still have to A/B test it, and that's where I use AI coding to build landing pages that have built-in A/B testing. And I say, tell the AI, come up with 5 headlines. We're going to run the traffic to those headlines and see which one works the best, which one converts the best. Whichever one converts the best, we'll make that permanent, or we'll use that as the baseline for testing a few more. And you can do that on every aspect of the landing page that needs to, that, with content on it or images. The images can be A/B tested. So I do lean on AI to come up with great copy, great content, but you still have to A/B test to the live site traffic to determine which is going to convert the best, which page element, which variation of that page element. There could be 5 or 6 different page elements that you could A/B test one at a time or all at the same time. And you would need a third party tool to do that unless you use AI coding. With AI coding, you can build that into the landing page itself and then build yourself a nice little reporting page that tracks all the results of the A/B tests that the visitors are seeing. It tells you which ones have the winners. And then once you get the winners, you make those permanent. And then you've raised the conversion rate definitively.
You're building real software with Claude Code, Codex, Claude Cowork, without being a traditional engineer. How did you get started, and what's possible now that wasn't even a year ago?
Well, when AI coding or vibe coding, whatever you want to call it, I don't really like calling it vibe coding because I don't think it's a good terminology in my opinion. When I first started AI coding a year or so ago, it wasn't that good. It was very frustrating. You had to show it everything. You had to debug everything. You had to show it a million screenshots. But I persisted. I stuck with it because I knew I could get the finished product created without using people and without paying a bunch of money. Um, so over time, they've made the AI coding thing much, much better. Every week, every month, they make it more effective. They make it more intelligent. They make it, and I use multiple AI coding tools on the same project. Like I'll use Replit, I'll use Codex, I'll use Claude Code, all on the same website or software or mobile app. And because sometimes one will notice, fix something the other ones didn't fix, or I just move them around to see like what I audit them with the other ones and see like what the feedback is, what the suggestions are. I have AI auditing all my websites and softwares and mobile apps for user experience and giving me feedback, a feedback list. They test it as a user would. They experience it as a user would, and they say this is good, this is not good, it needs this, it needs that. And I take that list and I give it to the agent and I say, okay, now build all these features or fix all these issues. And so that's how I'm able to rapidly build software. I can build a whole software in a day or two that, anyone can make money with. So I started building softwares for people and companies. And now I'm training people on how to use AI, like inside the company, like the staff members, how each role should use AI, Claude Code or ChatGPT co-work to like use agents to get work done. Because a lot of people are still just chatting with AI, but they're not using agents. So those people haven't, taken the next step, and they need to take the next step. Because without agents and without, it doing work for you, you're not really becoming more productive. You're still your old self, slugging it out as best you can. Where you could have Claude Co-work or ChatGPT work actually doing work for you and making you more productive, effective, and efficient. So that's the step people need to take, and companies need to, in my opinion, compel their employees, their staff, to use these tools to be more effective and to do their job more effectively. But they have to be trained. They have to be shown by someone who knows. Otherwise, they're not going to figure it out left to their own devices. They're really not going to figure out how to use agents, how to use, what to ask co-work, what to ask ChatGPT work. ChatGPT work and Claude Co work are kind of like similar. They're very similar, and they sort of like keep up with each other's advancements. So I was a big Claude Cowork guy for the last 6 months, but now that I've been using ChatGPT work a little more, it's very good also. So I use them both now. I'll use this one for one thing, this one for another thing, and I'll just keep bouncing back and forth to the different tools and asking them to do things for me and trying to get more work done and get it done at a higher level.
Evan, walk me through one of the tools you built, say GDM Champion or Daily Signal. What does it do and why did you build it? And if it's possible, show our viewers, what the tool does. And
Yeah. Well, this is one called AEO Improvement that
okay,
helps people improve their optimization in the LLMs, ChatGPT and the other in Claude and stuff and Perplexity. So it does a full audit. It audits your site. Like this, I did Stripe, and it gives you like a whole overview, and it tells you recommendations, and it helps you implement the recommendations through email, quick wins, and it helps you improve your placements in the LLMs over time. So that one I built because companies needed it. I saw other companies building them, so I just said, okay, I'm going to build my own version of it. So like, and then it checks like it checks prompts, see what are the companies surfacing in the prompts. Um, AI to generate the prompts, and then you can run a simulation. It should be running the prompts anyway. One of the things with any software is you got to make sure it's not breaking. There we go. And
yeah,
continually check it and make sure it's running properly. So it's going to tell me like how Stripe.com is ranking for these different queries in the LLMs, and then it'll help you improve them over time. So while that's running, I'll show you another one I have. This is called GTM Champion. This is another one. I ran this for Stripe as well, and it's a totally free tool. There's like some like paid like upgrades, but it'll give you a 13 channel strategy, a customized strategy for whatever company you enter into it. It'll tell you what the SEO strategy should be, you know, for every channel. SEO, LLMs, organic social content, email, CRO, community, paid social, paid search. So you basically just go through each channel and you get your strategies right here to grow all the channels. So every company needs to be growing all their channels, which takes management and takes strategy. So this one I came up with also because I knew that a lot of B2B companies, SaaS companies, they were focused on one or two channels, but they weren't using all the channels. So I wanted to give them a tool that would give them the strategies for all their channels. And it's powered with AI, but it's with my strategies as well. It's based on my strategies, and then it's infused with AI strategies and best practices from authoritative sources in the industry. So, I made the tool, based on this came out of my own mind or whatever you want to call it. Um, and it'll send you emails and it'll say like, okay, now it's time to work on this. Now it's time to work on that, to bring the users back to the dashboard, to give them tasks to work on. Um, I've built many, many tools. I built an email campaign blaster, like a cold email, or regular email blaster. It sends out cold email like in an effective way. These are some of my projects. Here's my agency site. I was able to rebuild that used to be on WordPress. I get rid of my hosting account. I'll never pay another hosting fee again. Um, and I have various projects I built on in here. Like this one's like a free rewards app for companies that I built. just trying different things, seeing what I could build. And when you AI code, you chat with the AI over here on the left, and you see the preview of the app over here, the website or the app on the left, on the right, and you can, log in, you can register. They all have dashboards. So the sky's the limit. I worked with a lot of human developers over the years, and I was always frustrated with, you know, the cost and just the ability. AI coding, I know people don't want to hear it, but it codes better than humans ever could. So yeah, I built this one for affiliates, affiliate marketers. Is a 100% free tool to help you become a better affiliate marketer, and it has a dashboard and email follow ups. The only thing you really need to plug into a software you build with AI is like Stripe for billing and an email sending mechanism like Postmark or Resend. So, but like if I wanted to tell this, like, make the homepage more exciting, okay? So now that's just a pop up, an exit pop up. But so now I've told the agent to make the homepage more exciting. It's going to look at the current homepage. And in a couple of minutes, it's going to do things to the homepage to make it more exciting. That's as specific as you need to be. Now, you can be more specific. You can say, like, make the headline say this, or make it this color, put this image here. Or you can just say, like, use your best judgment, like AI, make it more exciting. Because the AI is smart. It'll figure it out. It'll figure out the best practice. It'll figure out what an upgrade from what you currently have looks like. So while it's working, I'll log into the dashboard real quick. This is the dashboard. It's got, the directory for affiliates. It's got free tools. It's got vibe code tools. It's got resources. It's got a prompt library. It's got industry news. That has to load. It's got courses. The AI built all these courses under my direction. I told it the kind of courses I wanted. It built all these courses for me. And then at the end, they take a quiz and they can get their certification. All built with AI. It's also automatically connected to OpenAI and Claude, which is another thing I like about Replit. You can bookmark things. And every week, it sends users an automated personalized email to bring them back to the tool. Um, so that's a nice little example of. Now, I could have made this a paid tool. I could have made this a $20 a month tool, but I wanted to give it away for free to affiliates because that's what I do. I try to help the affiliates for free. That's just one of my things I've always done. When I work with affiliate marketers, I try to help them for free type thing. So eventually, when the AI finishes doing what it's going to do, and you can like look and see what it's doing, along the way, or you can not look at what it's doing along the way. It shows you the task is working. It'll probably take about 5 minutes, and then it'll be done. Um, yeah, I built probably 25 or 30 different from website. I build landing pages all the
Yeah,
time for clients for their ad campaigns. So um, landing pages. Let me show you a landing page
sure.
real quick. One more example. Um, this is a complete website, a complete customized website for a client. Uh, Here's a landing page. Absolutely gorgeous when it loads. And then again, I can change it whenever I want. Here's a landing page I built a couple weeks ago. Way better than the one they already had. The one they already had was terrible compared to this. So um, 10 minutes of work. But I know how to work with the AI. You know what I mean? I know how to
Yeah.
get what I want out of it as quickly as. But it's nothing is ever done with AI. It can always be better. This is another one like a for a
Yeah.
client like a B2C client. Another example of a landing page. Boom, and you can like view it in the browser. Exclusive offer for homeowners. People sign up here, then they see their offers. Look how beautiful that is. Mobile, totally mobile optimized.
Yeah.
Again, I will never pay another hosting fee again. I don't pay hosting fees anymore. I pay Replit one low monthly fee to host everything. So let's go back over to the affiliate platform and see if it finished redesigning the homepage. Still working. Sometimes it takes longer, than others. There we go. It looks different. See? Animated type, glowing CTAs, a livelier hero. It just put a nice revamp on my homepage. 5 minutes of work.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the vibe coding thing. But very exciting. I like to vibe code, and then use the Claude code, and I can show you that real quick. Let me show. Let me see if it's loaded. No, it's not loaded. If it gets off, if it loads real quick, I'll show you. But Claude takes a little while to load on my Mac because I'm kind of an older
No
Mac.
worries.
But
Yeah.
we could do a whole
Yeah.
a whole webinar on how to do AI coding
Yeah,
properly.
absolutely. It definitely warrants a whole different episode, whole different webinar, because the kind of tools you've been built and the kind of tools you've been working with. And I do have a follow-up question to that as well, as you were explaining. Um, What's the difference? Like, I know you've been building for the last couple of years, especially ever since vibe coding tools and, vibe coding came into being. What's the difference you felt personally using AI as a feature versus building your own AI workflow or agent? Uh,
Well, I don't really build agents. I let Claude or ChatGPT spin up the agents. When you ask it to do something, it quickly spins up the agent it needs to accomplish the task. So I'm not really building any agents myself. The vibe coding tool is an agent in itself. The AI coding tools are agents. They have an agent that I chat with. And then I use Claude agents or ChatGPT's agents to work on the project, or it can take over my browser. I think your screen froze. It can take over the browser, my browser, and I can connect all my apps to it, like Gmail and Calendar and all types of different apps that I subscribe to. And I just tell it to do something, and then it starts interacting with all my apps and with my browser to get work done. So it just depends what I'm asking it. Again, that's we could do a whole webinar on how to use AI agents to be more productive, which we should. But essentially, I'll go to Claude Cowork or ChatGPT Work, and I'll say, "Hey, I want to do this. I want to do that. Go do it for me," and it'll go do it for me. It's as simple as that.
So, as you mentioned earlier, you train teams on vibe coding tools and Claude Cowork, MCPs, AI workflows. What do most marketing teams get wrong when they first try to adopt AI?
They just use it for content, and they don't use it for with agents. They don't use it to audit landing pages or ad accounts. That's what the agents do. You give it access to your browser, or you connect through an app, and then they go and they audit, and come up with things for you, and then present them to you. So most marketers, if they're not using agents, then they're not really using AI to its fullest, potential, nowhere near. But at least if they're using it to come up with better headlines or better marketing copy, that's good. But um, they need to be using tools like Claude Cowork or ChatGPT work in order to utilize the agent aspect of it to be more productive, effective, and efficient in whatever they're trying to accomplish and get more work done and at a higher level. So I don't think most marketers have really made the leap to really using co-work or Claude, or ChatGPT work yet. So, but once they see it, once I once I show someone this, then they say, "Oh wow, oh my God, like oh, it's incredible." Um, so everyone sees the light pretty quickly, but they just have to be shown like a couple examples of what it can do in order to leap the hurdle, that they need to leap. Then they need to start turning to it to do more things. And once they get into that rhythm, then they'll start utilizing it more, and then they'll become more effective with it, and you really using it to its potential.
Where do you see AI generally replacing parts of the performance marketing and CRO workflow over the next couple of years, and where does it fall short? Like still.
Well, again, AI isn't going to really run your ad campaigns for you. It's going to help you. It's going to co-manage them for you. Okay, it's not going to run them for you, because ultimately a person has to make the decisions of what should be implemented. It can implement the things for you, but you have to tell it what you want implemented. Um, in my opinion. Now, if you don't have the judgment to do that, then you can rely on it, and it'll probably do a better job than an experienced person would. But in my opinion, it's like a collaboration tool. It's a collaborator. You want to collaborate with AI tools like Claude Cowork and ChatGPT Work. You want to collaborate with them and like co-manage, not turn it all over, not not use it, but you want to co-manage with it to be as effective as possible using all the techniques that we discussed in this webinar. So I don't really see it taking. It can take over if you wanted it to, but I don't think that wouldn't be what I would use it for. Although in the future, companies might just do that because they don't have the experienced people, to make those judgment calls. And they don't really know. They don't really have the frame of reference or experience to really know, what the best decision is. So yeah, they might use co-work to set up the campaign, optimize the campaign, and do it all. I mean, it's possible. I don't think it can do it as well as an experienced person in conjunction with it, but certainly it can do it now, and it will do it in the future more and more.
For a marketer or a business owner who wants to start building their own tools with AI, where should they begin? I know there are tools, and I probably know the answer of that, but for our viewers, if you could share some nuggets.
What I would say is I would recommend Replit, Replit.com, for AI coding, because it's very cheap and it's very effective. And then I would use Claude Code or ChatGPT Codex to work on the projects once they're established on Replit. You can connect them through what's called GitHub, which is a code repository. It's where the code lives. You push the code from Replit to GitHub, and then you can access it from Claude Code or ChatGPT Codex, and then you work on it there, and then you merge the changes back into the project. And that's how you can keep the costs low and get multiple AIs working on the same project at once or one at a time. So now I'll ask it, ChatGPT, like, I have an idea for a software. Give me all the product specifications. Give me all the product features. And it does a great job giving me all the product features. And then I say, turn that into a prompt. And then I take the prompt to build the tool, and I give that to the Replit agent to kick off the project. Once it's done with its initial build, I'll connect that to GitHub, and then I connect that to Claude Code or ChatGPT Codex. I use both, and then work on the code from there, build out the project from there, and then I'll merge the changes back into Replit. That's my process. That is the best process you can have right there. There's nothing better than that. It keeps costs down and it keeps effectiveness high. So yeah,
Before we wrap up, I just want to ask one little question about fractional CMO consulting. Uh, if you're not running out of time or you don't
yeah, go
have any
ahead.
other
I
engagement,
can do
yeah.
one more.
Uh, when does it make sense for a company to bring in a fractional CMO instead of hiring a full-time head of marketing? And if you could also tell a little bit about what do generally fractional CMOs focus on in their first 30 days, and
Well,
the whole, yeah.
that's a little bit of a can of worms question. Fractional CMO, it's kind of like a consultant. You have to find a good one. You have to find the right one. But they can certainly come in and give you like a good strategy, overview of like what should be done to market the company more effectively. But again, you have to find the right person. Like I do consulting, but some people might also do it and maybe be more effective or less effective. So you have to find the right person. That's first and foremost. But yeah, they should do the fractional thing or hire a consultant if they don't want to pay, a CMO or a VP of marketing a bunch of money. Then they should go. I believe they should go the fractional route. Absolutely, you just have to find the right person and make sure they know what they're doing and make sure they're have good recommendations, good people recommending them and whatnot, and let them do their thing for a month or two and see what happens. See if the strategies are good, the execution is good, if they could work with the agency properly, manage it in house. It depends. It depends what you need them to do. It depends, who's going to be managing the marketing strategies and the channels. So there's a lot of variables with doing something like that. But yeah, I'm a fan of fractional CMOs and fractional marketing people for sure.
And the last question. If we talk about the agency, since 2007, it's definitely a whole 20 years of
Right,
stuff and lessons. So what's the
right.
lesson from those 20 years that you'd want to share with people or our viewers?
Don't become an agency. um, Agencies are hard to run because you have to deliver constantly and you have to constantly find new clients and keep the ones happy. So it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the weak. It's definitely doable if you can accomplish it and deliver. And plenty of people do it. They might not deliver as high a level as I think they should, but they seem to retain the clients. And I think people should have their own software, though. I think people should build their own software. That's maybe a better idea than having an agency because you can, build up customers on your software and build it to 1,000 customers of recurring revenue or 100 customers of recurring revenue. So I think building a software, it's cheaper. It's never been cheaper. It's never been easier, and never been able to do it as a high level as you can with AI coding. So I built a whole website called vibeyourcompany.com that helps you come up with a software idea or an AI business. They should check that out, vibeyourcompany.com. And it comes up with like AI coded software business ideas for the average person, so they can leave their corporate job or they can, have a side job, a side hustle that actually makes money. So yeah, now you have the power in your hand. There's no excuses. It doesn't take thousands of dollars, tens of thousands. You don't need people. You can do it all yourself for very little money. And now the power is in your hands. So now what are you going to do with it?
Thank you so much, Evan, for doing this. You didn't have to do it, but you really did it. It's been such an honor to have you. It was such an
Thank you.
insightful conversation, and we'd love to have you here on our podcast again.
Yeah,
If, of course, you have time.
for sure.
Anyway, thank you so much, sir, and hopefully, we'll definitely collaborate any way possible moving forward.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye.